Hello and welcome to the Level Cap Podcast, your podcast where we don't talk about Mikhail enough.
But today, that will all be fixed.
And of course, Brad's correct. I am your host, Marco De Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is Brad Talton Jr., president of the...
Yep, also known as Brad Talton Jr., president of Level 99 Games.
Ah, so your
But call me Brad.
Your AKA is just your regular name.
I am my own secret identity.
Oh,
People think I'm secretly somewhere else, but I'm actually secretly myself.
So that's the gambit. Like,
Na 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 na.
It's-
na,
X-Files theme song as well.
007. What do you do? X-Files.
No,
X-Files
no.
is like da na 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 na.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that you do the 007 and the X-Files on top of it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Let me see. No, it's not happening.
Man.
I can't, some pop stars can do it, but I can't sing two tracks at once. I'm sorry.
Well, Brad, you
I
gotta
don't
work
have a
on
multi-track vocal cord.
that. Multi-track drifting. How about that? Can you do multi-track drifting?
That sounds like something out of Fast and Furious.
I think it's actually from Initial D or something.
I see.
So you're not far off. You're not far
I
off.
see. Well, anyway, let's talk.
All right. So
Let's talk stuff.
Yeah, let's talk stuff. We have a wonderful docket for all of you guys listening in today. We're gonna talk about the character of the week. We're gonna talk about our days and all that stuff. So let's start it off like we usually do and talk about our days. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing well. I had a few rough days last week. I had a little bit of a burnout, but I'm feeling much better today. I took time to play some video games and relax, have some sushi, and get a massage, that kind of thing. So I'm feeling much better.
Oh, that's good to hear. Wait, you said sushi. Yeah. Are you a salmon or tuna guy?
Well, my wife got sushi. I actually get udon, tempura udon soup, but I shared some of her sushi, and I go for my favorite sushi is actually horse mackerel, which is very difficult to get outside Japan. But if you go to the good sushi places, you can find it. It's called aji in Japanese, and very good.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, so it's a good thing you're rested, so you can stay lucid for this podcast. Because
I'm feeling much better today.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Because I'm not. So to maybe bring my mind away from the troubles of school, let's talk about some games.
Yeah, indeed.
Specifically, a game that we are going to talk about in this week's Game Club. So for this week's Game Club, what did we play, Brad?
Mark of the Ninja.
Oh man, I love Mark of the Ninja.
And this was a really cool one. I didn't get a chance to play it on live stream like I usually do, just because it was really late on a Tuesday night, and I didn't have time to hook everything up and get my streaming software running. But I did get to play for a bit, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay, so for the listeners at home, if you don't know, Mark of the Ninja is a stealth 2D platformish game made by Clay, the guys who made Don't Starve and Oxygen Not Included, if you guys know those games. And I think Shank and Shank 2. So
I haven't played those yet either, but I've played the other one, Don't Starve, which I've also quite enjoyed.
Oh yeah, dude, the art style for Clay is amazing. But I think I want to focus on something, if you don't mind, and it's that Mark of the Ninja is what I believe to be a really, really good stealth game. I think you're going to be very hard-pressed to find a better one. As a guy who likes stealth games, I kind of think that it's really hard to beat Mark of the Ninja because of the way that most of the levels are so free-form and open-ended. You're not kind of shoehorned into solving a specific room in a specific way. And as you go on, you get more and more tools to do your stuff. And so it just becomes really, really creative, the ways you can finish the same level in so many ways. So did you
Mm-hmm.
experience that when you were playing it?
Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of ways to go for it, and the what I really found that was really neat about it, and what I the thing I think is a major upgrade over other stealth games I've played, is that the game makes it so clear when you are visible and when you are able to be heard. The way that your movement sends off sound waves, the way that your character's entire sprite changes when you go into light or out of light, makes
Mm-hmm.
it really really great, really easy to do things or to understand when you're seen and when you're not seen. So I didn't have the trouble of in a lot of stealth games, like I'll step a little too close and I'll accidentally alert the guard, and I'll be like, "Whoa, why? Well, how was I supposed to know that he could hear me from all the way over there?" It's
Yeah.
not a really great indication of how much noise you're making. And this one really made it really clear, the stealth aspects. How am I being heard? How am I being seen? And which actions generate noise and which actions generate like visibility. So it's really good. I did have one or two problems with the game. My main problem, and maybe this is like a control issue, but I found it very hard to do the kills, and mainly just to actually click on the guy. So like I'd jump down and I'd click on the guy, and I'd miss, and so I'd click on him again, and I'd miss, and then he'd turn around and see me, and so I'm like, oh well, I got to restart the checkpoint now. Um, and that was my more frustrating experience with Mark the Ninja. I would have liked it if I was able to and maybe you can jump down behind somebody and pause time with control and kill them. Because I feel like that might have been the ideal thing for me. But I
Hmm.
couldn't, if I jumped down against somebody who was walking the other way, I had a tough time sneaking up on him to do the kill, because as I try to walk, I try and click, and my character would stop, and the guy would keep walking, and then I'd be even further behind him.
Yeah.
So a few little control issues, but I think if I played it on a controller, or if I just practiced a little bit more, I would have been fine at it.
Yeah, because I played it quite a bit, and I did experience the same thing like at the start, but you kind of get used to the pace that the guards walk in, and you kind of figure out there are a bunch of other tools, I think if you just hold control while you're falling down and you hit them with the bamboo sticks, whatever, you kind of
Hmm.
temporarily stun them, then you can do the kill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's stuff like that. So it's like they're
I'll give
little
it a little
things.
more play. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah, I really love the way the game lets you, take these different strategies, and especially when you take the different costumes. So did you unlock any of the bonus costumes?
No, I didn't get that far.
Okay, so if as you go through the game, you actually unlock these costumes that actually affect your base capabilities. So it's like
Hmm.
certain costumes change the basics of the game. So for example, there's a sneaking suit that doesn't let you kill people, but it lets you bring 4 distraction items, and you don't make sounds when you sprint. So
Hmm.
so
Okay.
that changes the entire landscape of the level. There's another suit which is my favorite one, which is like a Oni of Death suit, and what it does is that when enemy guards see dead bodies, they get thrown into a panic fear that causes them to shoot other guards due to panic. So
I see.
so you
Huh.
you basically cause the entire level to turn into this giant cluster of guards just accidentally killing each other out of fear. It's hilarious. You feel like such a demon when doing it, and the
Huh.
experience is very different compared to just playing as regular ninja. So if you ever get into the costumes, dude, it's one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion. But yeah, I really, really love Mark of the Ninja. So if you guys listening at home haven't tried it, haven't played it, and or maybe considered it, dude, get it. It's so good. Highly recommended by me. Do you recommend it,
And
Brad?
me. And
Yeah.
me. I would recommend it as well.
All right. All right. But let's move on from ninjas to angels in our character of the week. Brad, our character of the week is
Mikhail Eisen, the Dean of Divinity at Argent University, and our first Virian character, which are the celestial. They come from the celestial plane in Indines. So there's this whole cosmology, and I think I talked about it a little bit more when we talked about the Kaons who come from like the far, far end of the universe. But around the world of Indines, there are two near planes, which are the celestial plane and the dark world, and those two both have their own dominant races that kind of run the place. They're human analogs, I suppose. And so in the celestial plane, it's the Virians, who are these angel-like creatures. They have like pairs of wings. They float a little bit. They have hollow bones, and are very, very capable at using divine magic. But they don't necessarily serve the gods of Indines. They serve their own mysterious forces back on the celestial plane, which has not been made clear yet exactly what those forces are. And there are two of them that we know about in the world right now. And they're both from Argent. Mikhail, who's a fighter available in Battlecon Devastation, and is also a supporter in Argent. And then Ray Cal, who is a candidate in Argent. And they come to Indines from the Celestial World on some sort of, well, not necessarily on some sort of mission, actually. They come to Indines from the Celestial World, and then once they get here, they will someday, at some point, receive some mission from their superiors back on the Celestial World, which they carry out, and then when they die, their souls get transported back to their home plane. And that's true for just about all the extraplanar creatures. When you kill one of these guys, they don't just die, they actually translocate back to their own plane. So killing a extraplanar character in Indines actually just banishes them, and they could come back again later.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this is our excuse to bring back villains, right?
And heroes. And it's also a major plot point for the plot line of Devastation, too. Because one of the things that we know is that humans, when they die, go to the Well of Souls, which is this little, like, basically they're the afterworld, or this other plane off of the world. And creatures like elven and dragons and dryads and stuff, they just disappear. They kind of go back to the earth. So only humans actually have ghosts and go to the Well of Souls. Yeah, basically only humans and Indians have that kind of a soul that goes somewhere else. Yeah, so all the ghosts you see in Indians are human ghosts. So yeah, so the Virians, they every time they come back to the plane to do another mission, they get another pair of wings, and that signifies an increased status on their own plane.
Okay.
So, like, Rey only has one pair of wings. She's a very low-ranking character, whereas Mikhail has two. He's more in the middle ranks, and then the very powerful ones have 6.
Okay, so Mikhail has, like, 2 pairs of wings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means
he has 4 wings.
That means he's reincarnated, like, at least once, right? Reincarnated, quote unquote. I don't even know what you call it. Do they have a special word for it?
I mean, that is actually the word, is reincarnating, because incarnating means becoming flesh. And so when they come to, like, in the celestial plane, everything's spirit. When they come to Indians, which is the world of what they would call, people in one country call another country something else. They would call Indians the world of flesh, and that's where they would come to. They would think of it as a material world as opposed to their own natural world.
So Mikhail's a material girl living in a material world.
Something like that, I suppose. This is pretty deep in the lore, though. We're getting like way crazy into the technical specifics of this world.
And that's what the people want, Brad. Give them what they want. But before we stray off too much into the lore and not about the character, let's talk a bit about Mikhail's mechanics and design. So what made you pick this kind of design for Mikhail? So in case the listeners at home don't know, Mikhail's a character who's basically broken. All of his styles are really, really, really strong, but the trade-off is that he has to spend resources to access his styles, and the only way to gain those resources is to take damage. So Brad, what inspired this design mechanically, and what inspired Mikhail visually speaking?
So we had a couple characters that had very strong stats and abilities, and then had more of a drawback on their UA instead to counterbalance that. And those are guys like Mikhail, Alexian, and Caesar. And they who all have really good stats. Mostly the heavyweight cast of Devastation have really good stats, and then not so great UAs or even drawback UAs. So Mikhail's kind of like that. He doesn't get to use all of his styles every turn, but his styles are very, very good. And when he does use one, it really matters, and it really can ruin things for your opponent. As far as like the inspiration for the character, though, we had wanted to introduce somebody from that world for a while, because we'd already introduced the Rasps from the Dark World in the first game. And so it was good to get some new extra planar characters as we set up for kind of the lore that is in the other planes, the near planes for Indines.
Okay, so are you saying that the celestial world and the dark world are kind of like opposite parallels? Are
kind of
are variants good? Like, are they like
no, and Rasps are not evil specifically. It's just there are things that are in their nature. So in the celestial world, they actually draw power from the prime world, in the form of like hopes and dreams and prayers. And so when the people have hope, things are, the economy is up in their world. It's basically the easiest way to say it. And it's the same thing in the dark world, the other way around. However, the dark world's not very organized. The celestial world's very organized, and so they send emissaries to make sure that the people have hope and the world stays in balance and all that kind of stuff. But it's not. There's nothing about that that's not self-interested. They have an agenda for their and it's the benefit of their own world, not necessarily the prime world. It's just that the two incentives often overlap.
So it's like tangential, it just so happens that this is the only way we'll ever get to eat.
Yeah, it's like and I don't know, there's in like 8-bit theater they ask Black Mage, like, what powers your black magic? And he's like, oh, it's all powered by love. And the guy's like, really? And he's like, yeah, every time I cast this spell, the divorce rate goes up a little bit. But it's kind of like that. Like, they are actually, like using, like literally using the energy of hope and dreams and prayers from the prime world, from Indines. And it's not, so it's not that they have any interest in actually answering prayers or granting wishes or anything like that. It's definitely, like, let's keep the lights on upstairs.
So, are you just saying that basically we are livestock? Humans are livestock to them, essentially.
I don't know if they would go that far, but maybe like cheap labor, at least.
Cheap labor. I think that makes it sound even worse.
I don't know. I mean, they don't eat us when they're through us, so.
That's
I say us, but of course this is Indians,
and everything works in Indines, man. We can have T-Rexes if we want. Mm-hmm. We can. That's canon.
Well, wait till we get to the Underlands.
Underlands.
The land that time forgot.
The land. There are dinosaurs in Indines, canonically.
It's been sealed up for beyond the start of the Dragon World Wars. But like, okay, so the thing about the plains in Indines is that they're flat. Like they're literally flat.
Oh no!
And so
the world's flat, Brad. Oh,
the world is actually flat in Indines, and so if you go far enough upwards into the sky through space, you can eventually reach the next plane, which is also flat.
So it's like a cylinder. It looks like a bunch of cylinders.
Yeah. So like the world is like this. The universe is like these sheets of paper, like in an array from each other. But the other thing about Indines is that it's because it's flat. If you drill through the crust of the earth, you can pop out and stand on the other side. And there's another world down there, and that's the Underlands. There's another world with a different sky that faces the Dark World instead of the Celestial World.
Oh, so it's side B of Indines.
Yeah. And so there's an entire half of the world that's been sealed away. And that's what everybody is trying to unlock in the Relic Hunters plot arc. That's why they're searching for all these keys, because long ago they did build these tunnels to the other side of the world, and they had trade and technology and everything that they worked together with the Underlanders, this race that runs the other side of the world. And then when the Dragon War started, all that got sealed off. So there's a whole other world down there that that they want to reopen and re-explore.
Man.
And so that's what's going on right now in the storyline in BattleCon, Fate, and Trials, and Wanderers.
Which is us telling you that you should probably buy those games so that you get a little bit more of the lore, so that you can.
We don't get too much. We don't get too much into it. So I wouldn't say get it just on the basis of the lore.
No,
but,
not just that, but
the story is coming together.
Yeah, man, you gotta release that RPG book at some time.
I know. I still gotta finish the story for Devastation.
All right.
That's so much to do.
Oh my goodness. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of that extra tidbits of lore, probably tangentially connected to Mikhail in some sort of way.
We talked a lot about him at the beginning.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But I guess we don't talk about him enough. That's what our slogan is for this week. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed our character of the week. Again, if you guys want to suggest your own characters of the week, do tell us in the comment sections or just tag us on the social medias, all of which are available for links somewhere on the page that you're listening to this to. And of course, if you guys liked Mikhail, don't forget that he's from the Devastation set, so if you want to play with his cards, see the cool art, you guys can obviously play with him by buying the Devastation set. So let's move on to 99 questions, which aren't 99 questions, but we're getting there. This is like episode 9, so
is this episode 9? I think it's episode 10.
It's episode 10? Oh, so they were...
I think it's episode 10.
Okay, wow, that's great, actually.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, if you're reading this, then you know which episode it is, because you can look up above the title of the episode. You can see what it actually is, so remember to tell us in the comments so we get it right next time.
Yeah, tell us in the comments. You're like, Marco, you don't know how to number your own episodes. So yeah, let's ask some questions. So we're 1/3 there. We're 1/3 before we stop being untruthers. Let's ask.
I suppose. I never claimed that title.
Okay, so
that's all you.
Oh, that fine. Before I can stop being an untruther. You know,
there's only the untruther. There's no untruthers.
Yeah, with the power to give alternative facts. So let's talk about this, but don't give me any alternative facts on this one. People are asking about Merjoram Alexian. So
yeah,
in the latest BattleCon trials, if you will.
Trials. You can't pronounce trials wrong, Marco. That's unacceptable.
No, dude, it's like just imagine that the entire game's just about Trias.
All right, let's move on. Let's not talk about Trias here.
Okay. It's Trias. Anyway,
Trias.
Okay, so here, so she was one of the characters, and we didn't really get a lot of information about her. So, can you just give us like a short brief about like Merjoram Alexian? Who is she, and why is she here?
Okay, so Merjoram is the daughter of King Alexian. She is the crown princess to the throne of Jeffries. And so when she takes over the kingdom, she will become Alexian the 37th. So they give up their first name when they become the next king in the line or queen in the line. Merjoram is a heavy armored warrior, like her father. She has some giant's blood, so she is a lot larger and stronger than ordinary human. And she fights with a big warhammer. She is currently kind of on her own quest to find one of the lost vault keys, and she kind of has this King Arthur quest that she goes on. And she has her own Knights of the Round who feature in Pixel Tactics Deluxe, and there's about 8 of them, and they all go on adventures together. Those adventures will be brought out more in some later adventure game.
Yes.
But for right now, we don't know a whole lot about her except that those facts, that she is the crown princess, that she's on some other quest that's separate from the main storyline, and that she is that she's also fighting the forces of evil.
All right, so it's Merjoram versus the forces of evil.
Yep, pretty much.
Great show.
I suppose that's
Marcus there too.
Is that did you self-insert into my fake TV show?
No. Yes, I did actually. I go there. I know karate, and
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of the knights. You don't know?
Murderum versus the forces of evil.
Featuring Marco. He knows karate.
Secret bonus episode featuring Marco.
Yes, excellent, great.
We gotta. Speaking of which, fan fiction contest coming up soon. We gotta read those off. I'll be reading them next week, and we'll pick up the winners.
Yes. So let's move on.
We got a lot of entries. It's gonna be really fun,
dude. I want to read some of them because I already know some of the entries because the people in the Discord chat talk about them. But like, yeah, I can't wait to read some of them, and I can't wait to dramatically read one of them on this podcast.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna
be amazing. So here's another question. Will plot lines ever be finished in BattleCon? So it's like, we know some plot lines like Karen and Jaeger aren't, cursed anymore, or that Magdalena turns into Twilight Magdalena. So like, will everyone eventually reach this conclusion?
Yeah, I think the characters eventually reach some conclusion. Like, we know Hikaru sails across the sea to the other continent and finds out what's over there, and that kind of stuff. Though some of those get tied up in the End of Devastation. A lot of it gets tied up in the visual novel game that we'll someday make. But yeah, all the characters, eventually reach some conclusion. And I think that's one of the real charms of the series, is that we do have an evolving storyline, and the characters, when you see them 2 games later or 3 games later, they have kind of completed their quest, and they've aged a bit, and they've done what they were out to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the exciting things about the world of Indines as a series that people participate in.
Yeah, I love this world so much. I love it. And last question, which is very interesting. So this one's about a game production. So somebody's been playing a lot of Disc Duelers, and they love the game, but like there's a lot of problems with the rule book, and some cards are kind of vague. So they're saying, is there any plan to make a reprint or an update or an expansion?
At the moment, we are not planning to make more Disc Duelers. We actually sold out of it over Christmas. We discontinued it at that point.
Okay.
It just wasn't. It wasn't a perennial seller the way that games like BattleCon and Pixel Tactics had been, and that's just kind of part of business. Products come and products go, and in publishing, there's definitely a drive to keep releasing new things, and so you can't keep your old games in stock forever. And you have to eventually, move on from those. I really like Disc Duelers. I think there's certainly a place for it, but we don't currently have plans to reprint it. Do things, come back eventually? Will we ever get a digital version? Will we ever do a print and play version? I think all of those are reasonable things to think about, but we don't have plans at present for the future Disc Duelers. So when something happens, we'll announce it. Check the blog.
Check the blog, listen to the podcast as usual. And that pretty much does it for 99 questions, which are slowly approaching 99 questions, and the problem isn't one. But let's move on to our last segment, our News 99. Brad, do we have any interesting news for the listeners this week?
Yeah, so if you're listening to this podcast, then it means that Exceed Season 2's Kickstarter is probably running right now. So check our website, check our, check our blog, check the website, check Kickstarter, and back for Season 2 of Exceed, featuring the characters of 7th Cross, which is our upcoming big box game this year. So with 7th Cross is really exciting. We're doing a new game kind of in the same way that we did Indians, where we're building a big, expansive world around it, building a lot of characters and a lot of backstory. And then those characters will feature in a couple of different games. And the first time we're introducing them is in this season of Exceed, where they'll come out as fighting characters. But in the actual 7th Cross, which comes out, which will be on Kickstarter probably in October this year and coming out next year, it is a cooperative monster hunting adventure game where your players are all a team of church exorcists, inquisitors, and you go around and you explore through these cursed castles, fight giant monsters, get new gear and loot, and then repeat until you find the big bad at the end of the castle and take him down, or until everybody dies a horrible death. Both of those things can happen.
Amazing.
And it's very much a Souls type experience where just about any boss can kill any character in 1 or 2 hits, and so you always have to be on your toes. The fights are very quick and lethal. But there are only boss fights. There are no like trash mobs to fight in between. There's just exploring and giant bosses. But yeah, you can get to know the characters in 7th Cross Succeed. We got 16 really cool characters for you. They've all been play tested for over a year, and the art is all done by an artist called Wicked Alucard. He's super good.
Oh man, Lucia.
He's specializes in this kind of stuff, and yeah, Lucia's cool. There's so many cool characters in this. I envisioned these, but when I actually saw the drawn editions, and they're so cool. The artwork is stellar, and we pulled out all the stops to make this new series really huge right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I hope that you guys who like Indines, and know my work and want to support me in the next endeavor that I'm doing, will get involved with 7th Cross Succeed and check that out and help us make it a big success.
Question, before we move on from this point, what's the world of 7th Cross called? If we have Indines for BattleCon, what's 7th Cross's world called?
So I don't have like a name for that world because it's an alternate history Earth. So the game takes place in like the 1920s of our world, but it has a different history involving secret societies and monsters and magic.
X-Files theme.
But superficially it looks just like our world. Yeah, okay. You can overlay the X-Files theme after this goes away, after you're editing. But
yes.
But yeah. So it's that kind of a world. So it doesn't really have a name per se.
So it's Earth.
Just like I mean like in DC they don't have a special name for Earth. In Marvel they don't have a special name for Earth.
Well, technically they do.
I guess it's like they change the universe every week or something.
Yeah,
or
so
every few years.
They technically have names for the Earth. So like there's like Earth 314 and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
well. Anyway, we don't have anything like that right now. It's just the world of 7th Cross.
The world of 7th Cross.
But if you come up with anything catchy, you can the world of Earth. Ping us on a comment. Yeah.
The world of Earth. That's my suggestion. Pay me the royalties, Brad.
I see. Well, yeah. As soon as you copyright that and force me to, I'll talk to your lawyers.
All right. Well, my men will speak to your men. So, any other news?
Other than that, not too much news. We're going to the Gamma Trade Show next week.
Okay.
That's going to be pretty fun. We're going to be showing off Millennium Blades plus a bunch of other games. Millennium Blades sold out in distribution again.
Man, I love this game.
And I can't keep it in stock. So I'm going to be printing Millennium Blades again. I'm not going to Kickstarter for this print. I'm just going to print it outright. It's just going to be exactly like the first edition. It's going to be exactly like the second printing. Which is still the first edition. But we are going to be doing some new stuff for Millennium Blades in April, so look out for that. And then, we landed. I haven't made my formal announcement yet, so I'm not going to announce our new contract. But we did get a new licensed game. I'm very excited to announce that. And our new licensed game will be announced probably around the time of this podcast, maybe a little after, so I don't want to spoil it yet.
So it's an announcement for an announcement.
Yes, this is an announcement that there will be an announcement for a new licensed Level 99 Games product.
Ooh.
Much like our previous announcement for Mega Man Pixel Tactics, this is a license that you have probably heard of. So, I'll leave it at that, but it's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be another one of our classic games, which is reimagined with a new license. So much like Mega Man Pixel Tactics, we're going to be taking one of the classic Level 99 games and giving it a new face and some new play modes to match that new face.
All right.
So look out for that. It's going to be cool, and I will look forward to announcing it to you guys soon.
All right. So that's all the time we have for this Level Cap podcast. I do hope all of you listeners out there enjoyed listening to it. Again, as we've talked about before, if you're listening to episode 10 of this and you don't like it, thank you, but get help or something, because it's like you shouldn't really be wasting your time on something you're not enjoying.
What kind of a speech is this? Like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're listening and you don't like us, don't listen anymore. Like, no, keep listening. You probably secretly do like us and don't really get it or understand it about yourself. But there's something within you that we speak to, and that is what we're here for. We're here to reach to the heart of your soul and teach you the greater truth of board games. I kind of lost my thread.
No, dude, that was perfect.
Don't stop listening. Keep listening.
Keep listening.
Keep listening.
Keep listening.
The truth is out there.
Yeah, even if you hate it. Oh no. I think this episode should just be called X-Files.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to... So that pretty much does it. Again, I have been your host, Marco dos Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is
Brad Talton, also known as Brad Talton. And I will see you guys for the next one. Take it easy.
See ya.